Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of We Lift Big, bringing you the Q&A today. It is so good to have you guys here. I have got 3 questions with 3 answers, so we are going to dive right in. What is good reading for fitness? Ooh, yes, let me tell you. Oh my gosh, I could give you a million recommendations. I've been getting into so many books into the past year. And whenever I say I read books, I mainly listen to the audibles. And part of that's just because I have a hard time sitting down, being in one place and reading. I'm generally listening as I'm doing other things. I don't know if that's the best way to absorb information, but it is for me. But I did my best. I condensed myself to 3 answers, and this might be something that I do weekly just because I have so many recommendations. My first recommendation is Genius Foods by Max Lugavere. Discover the critical link between your brain and the food you eat and change the way your brain ages. He also recently released a book called Genius Life, and so if you want to dive deeper into your everyday living and how to maximize that, then that's a really good book to check out. I haven't gotten all the way through Genius Foods, but I really love what I've read so far. I've just kind of dove into the first few chapters of the book that talk a lot about fats and how there are good fats and bad fats, and how to know what's going to be best for your body, which is going to make a huge difference in how our body gains, maintains, loses weight. So, really good book to dive into. And second book that I got for you is Boundless by Ben Greenfield. Essentially, it is a blueprint for total mind-body optimization. And so the one chapter that I dove into this so far was called 16 Reasons You Can't Burn Body Fat. And it actually mentions the how choosing the right oils for your food, which is something that Genius Foods talks about. It mentions that, and it actually looks like a legit encyclopedia. It's this thick. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, you can see my hands. It is a thick book, and just full of really, really good information, and so I'm excited to dig more into it. My third recommendation for you today is actually not so much a fitness book as it is a mindset book, which I tend to read the most of. And it is called, wait for it, Unfuck Yourself by Gary John Bishop. First off, and very less importantly, the man who reads the audiobook has a very handsome Scottish accent. And more importantly, pardon my language, are you tired of feeling fucked up? Gary John Bishop has the answer. The straightforward handbook. He gives you the tools, advice you need to demolish the slog weighing you down and become truly unfucked. And by the way, I took some of these descriptors from Amazon, and so I give credit to Amazon for the descriptions of these books. What I love about this, first off, the chapters are affirmations, like I am willing, I am wired to win. Like that's the name of the chapter. And so even if you just needed a little pick me up, if you just looked at the table of contents and read all of the chapters out loud to yourself 5 to 10 times, like you would already be feeling great. And this book was just awesome. Like he's straightforward. If you like someone who says it like it is, isn't bullshitting, there's going to be a lot of cussing in this podcast. Just someone who's not messing around, who's going to tell you it like it is. And I love that. I love direct feedback. Then Gary John Bishop is going to be your man. And so those are my 3 recommendations for books this week. There was so many. I'm probably going to bring some into the next Q&A podcast. Jumping into question number 2. Why change your food before changing your cardio? And so this is a question that not so much a question as a discussion that I will often have with clients. Any goal that you have, it's better in the long run. I can't say it's easier. It's probably actually harder. It's so easy to want to add like an extra hour of running to your schedule for a week. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just realize that if you're doing it for weight loss and you want to keep the weight off, that extra hour of running is something that's going to have to be in your schedule for the long term. And so you can't just start doing all this exercise and then suddenly cut back. That's where a lot of the weight tends to get added back. Finding something that's sustainable versus getting your body really used to this really intense regimen and then trying to dial it back to some degree of where it was is just a recipe for regaining what you worked so hard to lose. Or losing what you worked so hard to gain. And so that's why you want to change your food before you change your exercise. And so, final question. What is my opinion on meal replacement shakes? Well, my friend, it depends on the shake. And I am all for whole food consumption. And there's a million recipes online to how to make your own whole food shakes and just what creates a good solid meal. And so essentially this a meal replacement shake is seeking to replace a full meal, usually to save time. And I use meal replacement shakes myself. The ones that I go for tend to have whole foods in them. In fact, I think the only ones that I drink have like powdered vegetables or sprouts or fruits. Like I'm not a fan of anything that is strictly like man-made inserted vitamins and minerals. I like to go to the source. I prefer to go to the source. And so the two brands that I've used in general are Garden of Life, their raw meal replacement shakes, and because it also has a really nice balance of vitamins and minerals. I just like how even if you're going for one or two of these replacement shakes in the day, just because you have those days that are extra crazy, then these types of whole food shakes are going to give you a very realistic, like if I was eating the actual fruits and vegetables and proteins and fats of the shake in real form, it would be a healthy meal. That's a really good way to decipher it. And so I really like Garden of Life. I also really like the brand Legion. Their plant-based protein has a really nice breakdown. They use very clean ingredients in general, and that's the big thing, is you want to make sure that your product is using clean ingredients. And so powdered vegetables, like sprouted wheats and barleys and things like that. Because again, just think of it this way. Think about if you were to eat all of those things in real form, like would that be good for you? And that's usually a pretty easy answer. And so that is all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and keep giving me your questions. I love hearing the feedback from you all, and I will be back in a few days. So have a beautiful weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.